Some stories begin softly, but mine begins with fear, heat, and a secret that could destroy a life. What I am about to share is not easy to hear, yet it is impossible to ignore once it enters the heart. This is the kind of story that holds your breath for you and refuses to let go. Please stay with me until the end, because what started in darkness did not end there. Before you continue, I invite you to comment where you are watching or reading from. Let us connect as one family, support one another, and continue to pray for each other wherever we are in the world. My name is Faisal Al-Rashid. The year was 2012, and I was 19 years old. I grew up inside walls that were tall, clean, and silent. The palace was beautiful, but it was also heavy. Gold doors, long halls, soft carpets, and guards everywhere. People bowed when I passed, yet I felt smaller than them inside. I was called a prince, but I often felt like a prisoner of rules, fear, and expectations. From a young age, my life was planned. What I would wear, what I would study, what I would believe. Questions were not welcomed. Silence was safer. Obedience was praised. Fear was normal. Religion was not explained to me with love. It was taught with warning, punishment, and strict control. I learned what not to do more than why I should believe. My heart was empty, but no one noticed because my face looked calm. I often lay awake at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering why my soul felt so tired even though my body lived in comfort. I felt guilt without knowing what I had done wrong. I felt watched even when alone. Fear became part of my breathing. One afternoon, during a rare visit outside the palace, something changed. I had gone with guards to a private library owned by a foreign diplomat. The place smelled old and quiet. Shelves were filled with books from many lands. Most of them meant nothing to me. I was not allowed to touch much. My eyes were trained to avoid certain sections. But then I saw it. A small book, worn at the edges, hidden between larger volumes. It looked weak, almost forgotten. I did not know why my heart beat faster when I saw it. My hands moved before my mind could stop them. I opened it. I did not understand everything inside, but something felt different. The words felt alive, gentle, and strong at the same time. It spoke of love, forgiveness, sacrifice, and truth. It spoke of a man named Jesus, not as a distant idea, but as someone who cared deeply for broken people. I knew immediately that this book was forbidden. Fear rushed through me like cold water. My hands shook, my mind warned me of danger, punishment, and shame. Everything I had been taught screamed at me to close it and forget it. But my heart begged me to read more. That day, I hid the book under my clothes and carried it back with me, past guards, past walls, past danger. Each step felt like fire on my skin. I expected to be stopped at any moment. I imagined chains, pain, and disgrace. Nothing happened. That silence made the fear worse. At night, alone in my room, I took the book out again. I read slowly, carefully, as if the pages might scream if I turned them too fast. I read about love that did not depend on power. I read about mercy for the weak. I read about hope beyond death. Tears came without warning. I had never cried over words before. I felt seen for the first time. I felt understood without being judged. It was as if light entered a room I did not know existed inside me. But along with peace came terror. I knew what would happen if anyone found out. I had seen others disappear for less. I had heard whispers of punishment, a fire of suffering used as a warning to others. These were not stories to scare children. These were real events, buried under silence. Still, I kept reading. Every day became a battle. By morning, I acted like the perfect prince. By night, I became a secret seeker. I hid the book behind loose stones, inside walls, under fabric. My heart lived in constant fear. The pressure grew. I started to change. I asked fewer questions aloud, but more questions inside. My eyes no longer looked proud. My silence became deeper. Those around me noticed. Suspicion followed me like a shadow. One evening, I was called unexpectedly. The room was cold. Faces were serious. I felt my chest tighten. I knew, even before anything happened, that my secret was no longer safe. They searched my room. When they found the book, time slowed. I did not need words to understand what came next. Their eyes told me everything. Disgust, anger, betrayal, fear of example, fear of weakness spreading. My title meant nothing in that moment. I was no longer a prince. I was a warning. They took me away through corridors I had walked my whole life, yet they felt unfamiliar. The walls seemed to close in. My heart pounded. My mouth was dry. I wanted to run, but there was nowhere to go. I was accused of betrayal. I was labeled a disgrace. I was told I had chosen a dangerous path. Fear crushed me. I thought of my family, my past, my future. I thought of the book, the words, the peace I had felt. I wondered if that peace had been a lie, because the pain coming toward me felt very real. As they led me deeper into the place where punishment waited, I realized something painful and clear. Reading that book had cost me everything, and the fire had not even begun yet. Some moments do not knock before they enter your life. They break the door, steal your breath, and leave you forever changed. What happened next pushed me from fear into pain, and from pain into a place no one should ever be forced to stand. Stay with me, because this chapter carries the weight of judgment, cruelty, and the cost of a single choice. I knew my life had crossed a line the moment they tied my hands. The room I was taken into was not grand like the palace halls. It was low, dark, and cold. The walls were bare. The air smelled of smoke and metal. My feet felt heavy, as if the ground itself did not want me there. I stood alone at first. Then men entered slowly. Their faces were hard. Their eyes showed no care. They did not look at me as a human being. They looked at me as a lesson. One of them showed me the book again, holding it like dirt. Another revealed to me that my reading was seen as betrayal, not curiosity. They made it clear through their actions that my title meant nothing now. Power left me the moment fear entered them. They bound my wrists tighter. The rope cut into my skin. I felt pain. But worse than that, I felt small. I felt stripped of value. My heart beat so loud I thought they could hear it. I was led outside. The night air was hot and dry. Torches burned nearby. Fire crackled, alive and hungry. My legs trembled as I was pushed forward. The ground was rough beneath my bare feet. Each step felt like walking toward the end of everything I knew. They showed me the flames. I understood without words what they intended to do. This was not correction. This was punishment, meant to scare others. This was suffering, used as control. Fear wrapped around my chest like a rope. My breathing became shallow. My mind raced. I thought of my childhood. I thought of laughter I once had. I thought of the peace I felt while reading in silence. I wondered if that peace had been worth this moment. Tears fell without permission. They forced me closer to the heat. The fire roared louder. My skin felt like it was burning even before it touched the flames. The heat was unbearable. Sweat poured down my face. My body reacted before my mind could. Someone pushed me forward. Pain exploded everywhere. Fire did not feel fast. It felt slow and cruel. It ate at my skin and breath. My body screamed even when my mouth could not. The smell of burning cloth filled the air. I collapsed, unable to stand. They watched. No one stopped it. No one showed mercy. They wanted me to feel it. They wanted me to remember it. They wanted my pain to speak louder than my faith. I rolled on the ground, trying to escape the flames. My hands were still tied. Every movement hurt more. My vision blurred. The world narrowed to heat, pain, and darkness. In that moment, I understood what persecution truly meant. It was not just the fire. It was being treated as less than human. It was being punished for searching for truth. It was being made an example so others would stay silent. My strength faded quickly. My body felt weak and broken. My thoughts became slow. The sounds around me grew distant. I felt myself slipping away. As the fire consumed my strength, I realized something deeply painful and deeply clear. I was dying because I chose to read. And yet, somewhere beneath the pain, beneath the fear, beneath the flames, a small part of me still held on to the peace I once felt in the quiet of my room. That peace had not left me. Even as the fire burned, something inside me refused to be destroyed. There is a moment when pain becomes so deep that fear goes quiet. That was the moment I entered next. A place between breathing and silence, between this world and whatever comes after. Please stay with me, because this chapter is where suffering reaches its peak and hope seems impossible. I did not know how long I lay there. Time lost its meaning. The fire was no longer loud. The world felt far away. My body was still, but pain lived everywhere inside me. My skin felt broken. My chest struggled to rise and fall. Every breath felt like a heavy task. They thought the lesson was complete. I was dragged away from the flames and thrown onto cold ground. The sudden change from heat to cold shocked my body. My skin burned, then froze. I shook without control. My hands were still tied. I could not wipe my face. I could not move freely. I heard footsteps fade. I felt forgotten. The room they left me in was dark and silent. The smell of smoke clung to me. My body felt like it did not belong to me anymore. Pain came in waves, sharp and deep. Sometimes it faded, then returned stronger. I tried to stay awake. Every time my eyes closed, darkness pulled me deeper. I feared that if I slept, I would not wake again. My heart beat slowly now. My thoughts became weak. I wondered if this was how life ended. Alone and broken. I thought of the book. I remembered how reading it made me feel calm. I remembered how the stories gave me hope. I remembered the love I felt when no one was watching. That memory became my only light in the dark. My body failed me, but my mind reached out. I could not speak loudly. I could not lift my hands. But inside I reached toward the one I had read about. Not with perfect words, not with strength, only with need. I revealed my fear and my heart. I showed my pain and my thoughts. I offered my broken body without pride. I did not ask for power. I did not ask for revenge. I only desired peace, even if peace meant the end. The pain grew worse. My breathing slowed. My chest felt tight. My ears rang. The darkness pressed closer. I felt myself drifting as if my soul was leaving my body. Then something changed. The darkness did not feel empty anymore. I sensed a presence, gentle but strong. The fear that had lived inside me for so long began to loosen its grip. The pain was still there, but it no longer ruled me. I felt seen, not watched with anger, not judged with hatred, but seen with care. Warmth surrounded me, different from the fire. This warmth did not burn. It comforted. It felt safe. My heart, which had been heavy for years, felt light for the first time. I did not see clearly with my eyes, but my spirit understood. He revealed himself to me not as a distant idea, but as help in my weakest moment. He showed me that I was not alone on the cold floor. He made me aware that my suffering had not been ignored. Tears flowed again, but these were different. They were not born from fear. They came from relief. I felt life return slowly. My breathing became easier. Strength, small but real, entered my body. The pain did not disappear, but hope stood beside it. In that place between life and death, I realized something I will never forget. The fire did not have the final word. Even when humans chose cruelty, compassion still found me. Even when my body was breaking, my soul was being held, and I knew deep inside that this was not the end of my story. Just when I thought nothing more could happen, when pain had taken almost everything from me, something greater stepped in. This is the moment where darkness met light, and death lost its grip. Please stay with me, because this chapter carries the turning point of my life. I do not know how long I remained on that cold floor. My body was weak. My skin was burned. My strength was almost gone. I could barely move my fingers. Each breath still hurt, but it was no longer empty. Something unseen was holding me together. The room felt different now. The fear that once filled every corner slowly faded. The silence no longer felt threatening. It felt watched over. I sensed that I was not abandoned, even though no human stood near me. Then the warmth returned. This warmth was not like fire. It did not hurt. It did not scare me. It surrounded me gently, like care wrapping itself around my broken body. I felt calm in a place where calm should not exist. I became aware of a presence, not with loud signs, not with force, but with peace that settled deep inside me. He revealed himself to me through understanding rather than sound. He showed me compassion when I expected punishment. He made me feel valued when others had treated me like nothing. I understood that this was Jesus, not as a picture from a book, but as living help. He did not come with anger toward those who hurt me. He did not bring fear. He brought assurance. He made me aware that my pain was seen and that my suffering mattered. My body began to change. The burning pain slowly eased. My breathing became steady. Strength returned in small waves. I could move my hands. I could open my eyes more clearly. Life flowed back into me in a way that felt impossible. I felt cared for. The marks on my body were still there, but they no longer defined me. My heart, once crushed by fear, now felt protected. I sensed that I was being given another chance, not because I deserved it, but because love chose me. I lay there, overwhelmed. I realized that while people used fire to destroy me, Jesus used compassion to restore me. While humans wanted to silence me, he gave me peace. While pain tried to claim my life, mercy stepped in. Footsteps approached later. Voices sounded confused. Hands touched me carefully. I was lifted with shock rather than anger this time. They did not understand how I was still alive. They did not expect to see my eyes open, but I knew. I had not survived by chance. I had not lived by strength. I had been saved. As they carried me away, my body still weak and scarred, my heart felt stronger than it ever had. I knew that whatever waited ahead, hiding, escape, or suffering, my life no longer belonged to fear. Jesus had met me in the fire, and from that moment on, I was no longer the same. Some endings are not quiet. They rise from ashes, scars, and tears, and they ask the reader to stop, feel, and choose what they will do with the truth they have just heard. This final chapter is not only about my survival, but about what suffering can give birth to when love refuses to die. Please stay with me, because this is where pain turns into purpose. Some endings are not quiet. They rise from ashes, scars, and tears, and they ask the reader to stop, feel, and choose what they will do with the truth they have just heard. This final chapter is not only about my survival, but about what suffering can give birth to when love refuses to die. Please stay with me, because this is where pain turns into purpose. I survived, but I did not return the same. My body healed slowly. My skin carried scars that never fully faded. Every mark reminded me of fire, fear, and the cost of choosing faith. Some days I could not sleep. Some nights I woke shaking, remembering the heat, the ropes, and the cold floor. I was kept hidden. They moved me from place to place, away from eyes and questions. I was watched closely. Freedom was taken from me again, but this time fear did not own me. I had already faced death. I knew now that my life had a deeper meaning than comfort or title. I was no longer treated as a prince. I was treated as a problem. Food was brought without kindness. Care was given without warmth. People avoided my eyes. I felt alone again, but not empty. Inside me lived a quiet strength. Jesus had shown me that my worth did not come from a crown on my head, but from truth in my heart. Persecution did not stop with the fire. It continued through isolation, through silence, through rejection. Friends disappeared. Family distanced themselves. I was spoken about in whispers. I was a reminder of something they wanted to erase. I felt the pain of being unwanted by my own people. Yet even in that pain, I felt guided. He revealed to me that suffering does not mean abandonment. He showed me that scars can become signs of hope. He helped me understand that my story was not meant to end in hiding, but to live as a light, even if that light had to shine quietly. I learned to pray without sound. I learned to forgive those who hurt me. I learned to love without being seen. I lost an earthly crown, but I gained something greater. I gained peace that could not be burned. I gained faith that could not be chained. I gained a new kingdom inside my heart. Today I live carefully. I am not loud, I am not famous, but I am alive, and I belong to Jesus. My faith is still dangerous to some, but it is life to me. I carry my story not with pride, but with humility, knowing many others suffer even more than I did. Some are beaten, some are imprisoned, some lose their families, some lose their lives, and they suffer simply because they choose to believe. If you are reading this, I ask you gently and sincerely to remember those who are persecuted for their faith around the world. Please pray for them. Pray for strength, protection, comfort, and courage. Pray that they will feel the same presence that met me in the fire. And if you feel something stirring in your heart right now, a desire to turn away from sin and toward Jesus, you can respond in a simple way. In your heart, acknowledge your need for forgiveness. Believe that Jesus gave his life out of love for you. Ask him to lead you, to cleanse you, and to make you new. Offer him your life with sincerity and trust. He sees quiet prayers, he hears broken hearts, he saves without delay. My story began with fire, but it continues with hope. And if Jesus could meet me in the flames, he can meet you wherever you are right now.